Hello everybody. This is a draft analysis for the Capmon Arena league that I joined. Um, so it is Capmon Little Cup. So these will be all pre-evolved Pokemon for my team, the 049ers. So the basics of this draft, it was a snake format. I got the 4th pick in the draft, which overall was really good, at least for the first round. After that, it was a bit dicey as I had a good lot of drafts sniped from me, but overall, I feel like the draft went pretty well. So let's get into it. So as I said, I got the 4th round pick, not fourth pick in the draft first round. Um, and I was going to pick Misdreavus, but that got stolen by the guy right in front of me. So I ended up picking Ghastly. Ghastly, I was trying to decide between Ghastly and Abra. They're both very similar. They're both quick. They're both wall breakers. They both have some of the highest special attack in the tier. The reason I went on to pick Ghastly was because of two main reasons. One, it has, of course, 3 immunities to ground, fighting, and normal. And it has the inability to be trapped by Shadow Tag or um, Arena Trap, which both Abra is very susceptible to. So I hope I made the right pick here. It also has better stab and a higher move coverage. It is a bit slower than Abra, so it's a bit of a trade-off, but I think I made the right pick overall. And of course, this is our wall breaker. Only has, I believe it's 3 weaknesses to Psychic, Dark, and Ghost. So overall, pretty good. It's ground immunity. It's a spin blocker. It can punish relatively well. So overall, I feel like it was a really good start to the draft. Of course, I had to wait 26 picks till it got back to me. So my next pick, I feel like I got pretty well. I wanted a bulky water, as well as something to cover the psychic type. So I ended up picking Slowpoke. Slowpoke, of course, just like its evolution, has Regenerator. It's very bulky, high HP, high defense, okay special defense, very slow. It has a wide special move pool. Um, of course, it resists psychic. It can set up screens. It it can teleport, so slow teleport, always helpful. So it's just a really good defensive mon, as well as a water type, which is always a good part of the team. So I feel like I got a really good pick out of this, as one regenerator is very rare in Lil Cup and most things in total. So getting one of the few regenerator mons was very good. So I am really happy. This core, you can see it has a good amount of weaknesses. Like they're both weak to ghost, they're both weak to dark. So it is a bit shaky, but I try and fix that up a lot later in the draft. So my next pick was sort of shoehorned in there because the pick I was planning to pick in this spot was Caudette, but it got sniped shortly before I got the pick. So I ended up settling with Cufant. Cufant has a high attack stack, high HP, decent everything else, and it's just a huge wall breaker. It can also set up Stealth Rocks, but what you're going to be mainly using it for is Life Orb Sheer Force, similar to its evolution. I mean, it has access to Power Whip, Steel-type moves, high horsepower, just a wide variety of moves. So it will be very good, and just having a Steel-type is really good overall. Of course, this doesn't really help us with a Dark or Ghost weakness overall, and of course, especially with the prevalence of knockoff in Lil Cup, you can see that I am not the most prepared. And I try and fix that a bit more with my next pick, which is my first Capmon, and my only to spoil it a bit, but I ended up picking Brattler. Brattler, of course, is a grass dark type with the abilities Harvest, Infiltrator, and Rattled, all 3 of which I feel like I can put to great use. Harvest can make a really good Stallmon with that 90 base defense. I mean, special defense, making a really good special defensive tank. Like, I believe in Calcs, with Eviolite, it can survive 2 Dazzling Gleams from an Abra, which is a really high special attack and can kill it relatively easily. It also gets access to Knockoff, Spiky Shield, Aromatherapy, all really good moves. Infiltrator can always be good, bypass screens, and I think Sub. I'm not fully sure on that one, but really good overall. And the one thing that I really liked with Rattled, you see that I have a big Ghost and Dark weakness, and knockoff is very prevalent in Lil Cup. But with Rattled, what I can do is pivot this guy in, who resists Dark and Ghost, I believe, and get a free speed boost off that. And that 30 base speed becomes something actually decent when it's increased by a stage. Meaning I can start punishing things with powerful Grass, Dark, and I believe it get access to Dragon Tail and Aerial Ace as well. And its base 70 attack is quite good as well. It makes a really good support mon and can also be a really good just attacker. My next pick, again, was one of those picks I sort of just thought, I need this. It'll be a really good spot on the team. And it was just sitting there. I'm surprised it made it quite far, but it was Elekid. If you realize, most of my team is fast, but most of them don't make the 19 speed tier, which is a really big benchmark. Like Ghastly only makes it to 18, I think. I might need to check that, but around that, and all the rest do not come even close. But Elekid is one of the 3 fastest Pokemon in the tier. It is, again, I say, one of the 3 that can make it to 20 speed, which the other 2 are Diglett and Voltorb, which I believe Voltorb went undrafted. So the only one I really have to worry about is Diglett. And if I can predict it correctly, I can punish with an Ice Punch, so that's really good. It's also an electric type, we can hit those flying, and water types really well. It also has great coverage with Fire Punch, Ice Punch, a lot of fire fighting type moves. So it's overall really good. It can sub screens if we need to, and it's also a really good revenge killer. So overall, I feel like it was a really good pick, and I'm surprised I was able to get in the 5th round, even if I did have one of the later picks. But I'm really surprised it made it all the way to the 5th round, especially with that speed tier. Now my next pick, you can see that I started trying to make a Fire Water Grass core with Slowpoke, Brattler, and I ended up finishing that with Growlithe. Growlithe was put at a relatively low spot, like not completely low, but of course it has good base attack and special attack. Its speed's okay, HP and its defenses are okay. But overall, the main reason I wanted it was because fire typing and because of its abilities, all of which I feel like are very good in Lil Cup season. Of course, Intimidate, I don't need even to explain. Immediate, just minus attack boost, that is amazing. I just have to be careful around Competitive Mon and Defiant, which there aren't too many Mons in this, but like Pawniard and others will be big threats. Of course, then there's Flash Fire, and since I already have 2 Pokemon that are pretty weak to fire types, I can pivot into him, into Growlithe, and get a free fire type move buff. And then there's Justified. There were only 2 Pokemon that got this ability, and it was an ability I was actually looking for, specifically for the ability to switch into a knockoff and get an attack boost, which immediately makes me a threat. You cannot ignore a base 70 attack plus attack Growlithe who has access to Wild Charge, Close Combat, Outrage, Flare Blitz, Morning Sun. All of those are just incredibly threatening and makes this thing a very powerful Pokemon to have, as well as just its utility with being able to spread Burn and Morning Sun to keep it healthy. So I feel like it was a really good pick overall. So my next pick, I noticed that I really needed a spinner overall, so I ended up picking Baltoy. Baltoy can also do, of course, Stealth Rock, Screens, Imprison Trick Room, which could be relatively helpful, but I mainly got it for spinning potential and, of course, Stealth Rocks and ground typing, both of which will be very helpful to the team, especially with the high prevalence of Stealth Rocks going to be quite prevalent in here. and I really need a spinner overall, and I feel like Baltoy was a really good option, especially because it resists Stealth Rock and is immune to Sticky Web, Toxic Spikes, and Spikes because of Levitate. So I don't even have to worry about running heavy duty boots, unlike my other pick, which was Anorith. I was deciding between Baltoy and Anorith for this. Anorith could have been interesting because it has much higher speed and attack. Um, so overall, but I feel like I made the right choice because Anorith is sort of forced into running heavy duty boots most of the time. So I feel like I made the right choice overall. My next pick was I noticed I needed a sweeper, really. Another sweeper, something that could set up and punish really hard. So I ended up picking Doduo. Doduo gets access to Knockoff, Brave Bird, Double Edge, Swords Dance, Roost. So it's just like a really premier sweeper. Has a good speed tier, good attack stat. It's very frail, but if I can get it set up, I can punish the plethora of fighting types and ghost types in the tier. Especially in the higher parts of it, there are a bunch of fighting and ghost types. So if I can punish those effectively, it's really good. So overall, I feel like it's a really good pick. It really has its job. It's to Brave Bird, Double Edge, and knock off through teams. But I mean, it does have some utility, but not much. It's mostly just there as a sweeper. You got to respect it. So overall, my next pick was I noticed, and you've probably noticed as well. Everything doesn't have the best speed. Like Elekid, Ghastly, maybe Doduo, but none of them have amazing speed tiers. They all have okay speed tiers. Like Growlithe, Brattler if it has a speed boost. But you know the one thing that could improve that speed? Sticky Web. So I ended up picking Spinneract for Sticky Web potential. It can also set up Toxic Spikes and also gives us bug coverage and other resists to fighting types and dark types. And another Pokemon that can deal deal damage to dark types super effectively. Um, so overall, it's really good. It's also another counter to fairy types, which were pretty rare. Good fairy types are pretty rare in Little Cup, but oh well. Um, so I feel like it was really good. It also gets access to Baton Pass, so I can set up Toxic Spikes, Baton Pass, and go into a more offensive mon to punish their spinner or defogger, and that could be really good. But its main role is to Sticky Web and Toxic Spike overall. And my final mon, which I was surprised it made it so far overall. Um, as I said, fairy types were very rare overall. There were only a couple good ones, like Spritzy, Swirlix, Puffle, I think its name is. There are only a couple good ones. I was able to get a decent one, as my final draft was Togepi. It's not as good as those. It doesn't get the ability that it makes it immune to Taunt and Torment, and all that sort of stuff. But what it does have is it has Wish, it has Morning Sun, it has Fire Blast, so if a Steel type tries to switch in on it, I can punish that. So overall, it is a very good budget pick, and it was the best fairy type available. And I needed another fighting type and dark type counter and resist. It also helps me with the dark dragon type matchup. So overall, I feel like the team went pretty well. We have a good mix of defensive and offensive mons with good sweepers, good just bulky supports, good just bulky offense. We have a spinner, we have stealth rockers, we have hazard setters. I feel like we have a really good balance overall. So I'm gonna try and get all my battles up on here. So I'm hoping you guys look forward to that. Our first battle should be up against, well, the person who I think stole the most mons from me. Yeah. We're up against a guy with Misdreavus, Caudette, Privatike, Zigzagoon, Drillbur, Snivy, Ekans, Joltik, and Kabuto first. So let's see how that battle goes. I'll probably have a draft analysis once what I'm planning to use for that battle soon, along with the battle. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Have a good day, night, whatever. Goodbye.